Wicked for Good. This is the second half of Wicked that came out last year. Really was strong on that movie. It surprised me. Really well done film. And I was kind of curious to see how they were going to wrap up Elphaba and Glinda's story. Do they successfully land the plane with this adaptation? Let's talk about it. So this picks up a little bit after the first movie. Some time has gone by. It seems like it's like a few months, because I don't think it's like years. But things have shifted. Elphaba is the Wicked Witch of the West. They have kind of spread this propaganda throughout Oz and whatnot. The animals are continuously being pushed out. Some of them are being used to make the Yellow Brick Road. And at this time, the movie starts, the Yellow Brick Road is just being made and whatnot. Meanwhile, you have Elphaba. She is wanting to expose the wizard's lies and wanting to expose the truth. So she definitely goes around and just meddles with a lot of different things around Oz. While Glinda, on the other hand, she is being put as this face. This is what she's always wanted as a little kid. Always wanted to be this princess, wanted to be popular. That's what I've always liked about these two characters, and how similar they are, but how different their lives are and their outcomes and what their motivations are, their goals, etc. And they constantly kind of show that throughout this movie. But it gets to a point where I feel like they forget about Glinda. And that's one of my issues with this movie as a whole. I feel like the first movie, you had a lot of time to flesh out these characters and give them time to breathe. It feels like with this one, however, they are kind of just rushing storylines. It definitely feels like certain stories are just kind of rushed just so you can get to the end and the conclusion to everything. And it is kind of crazy. And it makes me think, like, there are some really interesting ideas, and if they were to have a little bit more runtime, they could flesh certain things out. Like, you do get to see the origin stories of not only Dorothy, but, you know, the Tin Man, the Lion, and also the Scarecrow. But I don't think enough time was put on to that, you know, because you only have less than 2.5 hours here. So you can only do so much. I do like that Nessa got a little bit more screen time, but like I said, it was just kind of short-lived and we had to kind of rush to the next thing. The pacing is a little bit all over the place alongside the tone, but like I said, I get the gist of what they were going for with these two characters, and Elphaba wanting certain things from the world and just kind of accepting their characters, you know, her accepting the fact that she is the Wicked Witch and Glinda accepting her role as wanting to be the Good Witch, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like the gist of it. But I really wish they would have took the time to kind of at least give this a darker tone, because when you get towards the end, I felt like the movie should have felt like that the entire time, because it does this kind of thing where it's happy one moment, or then it just gets really dark and then it gets happy again. It's really all over the place once you get to like the second half. Like the first half, I think flowed pretty well, but then it got to a point where it's like, oh wait, how are we going to explain this? Oh, we're just gonna show Dorothy, pop it up here and there, and we're even going to see things that happen beyond the story of the Wizard of Oz. And I feel like you needed like a series. This could have been an actual like mini series. It'd have probably been better off, but I understand like there's a huge fan base for these movies and just this story. there's a lot of people in my theaters. A lot of people clapped at the end. I know there's going to be people that absolutely love this story and thought that they did these characters justice. Not to say they didn't, because I definitely think that the overall ending, the conclusion, I do feel works for the narrative that they're telling. I just wish there was a little bit more meat on the bone as far as the story goes, because even the songs were pretty forgettable. They're not as strong as the first movie. And once again, the set design is incredible. That's really consistent going into this movie. They don't kind of, cheapen out on the budget or anything like that. All the sets and different locations that they go to is really dope. No complaints in the costume department. All that stuff is really dope, on point, A1. I just feel like the story really suffers here and there. I could be in the minority with that, or some people can agree with that, and I could see why certain people don't like this part of Wicked, or if this is like a lot of this stuff is original or just new kind of material. I think The Wizard of Oz overall works best when you do it in a darker tone, make it more serious. And maybe we will get that down the line, you know what I'm saying? Because I definitely think that there's an audience that is clamoring for some more Wizard of Oz stories. So I could definitely see them revisiting this world probably like 5 years from now or something like that. And we get a reboot of the Wizard of Oz itself, and maybe they take a darker kind of approach to it. Not too dark, I understand that there are horror movies, and that's cool too, but no, I think you could go to places where this movie, I think, feels a little bit too tamed. And I think that's another issue I have. I feel like it feels too tamed, and that's, I think, by design, just because of the audience it's for. Overall, I still like the movie. I didn't love it. I wanted to kind of come out of this movie the same way I came out of the first one, but that shouldn't, make you not want to go check this out, because I think definitely there's going to be people that are going to absolutely love this movie, or probably be in the middle like I am, or just completely hate this movie as well. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Till next time, I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.